This week we've got a real treat in what we're going to be looking at here in the topic of reinventing government regulation. And what the real treat of this is in twofold, I'd say. The one treat is that we've actually got Tim O'Reilly, who's going to be anchoring this roundtable. Tim comes to the table not with a finished idea what to do here, but what he's brought together is he's hand-selected a group of folks that really can help him think deeply, help us think deeply about how we could actually evolve this idea.
It struck me that there are some pretty profound lessons that we can take from Silicon Valley. If you said to one of the libertarians on the net who wants government regulation to go away, do you want Google to stop trying to improve the quality of search results? And they would think you were nuts. 21st century regulatory systems doing things in real time to catch bad guys, to improve results, and effectively do the kinds of things that government regulation also tries to do.
Are there some principles we could extract from what you're describing and that would be more generally applicable to a 21st century regulatory regime?
I think this principle of kind of openness and enabling innovations on the outside that can help put checks and balances on the system, in addition to the oversight that you get from any given regulator in a particular system, is critically important.
Peter, one principle I might enunciate is also simplicity. We spend a lot of time at Google launching new algorithmic changes, but we also put a significant amount of effort into trying to clean things up.
I think that's a really important principle, Matt, because you do have these massive laws that specify in enormous detail what to do, and the only thing you can do is write a new law.
I just wanted to chime in real quick, Peter, on your question of principles. Existing regulatory systems and the old regulatory systems 1.0, but in regulation 2.0 is really about transparency, accountability, and innovation. And I think that we're seeing the shift in this model. I think that in 2.0 it's really exciting because it's really power to the people.
One of the questions I have is, how do we think about the hierarchy of what things government could do using initiatives like Sophie's Smart Disclosure Initiative, saying, well, we're just going to provide the data and there'll be third-party services that will help consumers make better decisions, versus, no, we really do need we need a cop on this.
Openness is great to some degree, but some things should also stay, in a very closed cabinet. So there's this interesting balance between, what's the right level, is it at the government level, everything should be open, and then at the personal level, you get to choose as the consumer, as a citizen, what is shared and with which services.
The CFPB recently announced an initiative they call Project Catalyst. What they're doing is using new authorities that they got as part of the Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act that allow them to encourage innovations and particularly encourage experimentation that might help inform future oversight and rulemaking. You don't want a regime to calcify, you want to allow iteration and learning in the system. Seeing how this kind of particular little petri dish of innovation plays out will be really exciting, I think, and then hopefully this kind of approach can spread to more different regulatory systems and sectors.
Sophie, I really appreciate the link to Project Catalyst, because this is showing that, of course, people in government are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to listen and make good regulations and not overly broad regulations or overly heavy-handed regulations. As a 20% project, I might be able to get a few engineers to, pitch a few things under the umbrella of Project Catalyst. And I think that kind of openness to those sorts of projects, I think is exactly the sort of thing where we need more people learning about what's going on in government, and of course more people in government learning about what's going on in technology to make things better.
This idea is starting to reach into government. How would we actually start to rethink regulation to make it more data-driven, more responsive, more of a nervous system for society rather than a skeleton for society or a straitjacket for society. There are lessons from Silicon Valley, but the real work is happening in government. There are amazing government technologists at every level. There are amazing government policymakers at every level. The disruption, that we see in the private sector are much, much harder in the government context. And they're trying to actually change the rules of government in such a way that the innovators in government can partner with potential innovators outside government to reinvent the whole landscape of how we work better together as a society.